incredible, you're a superstar. Don't stim in public. Are you kidding me? We needed to cure you somehow. Hi all, I'm Aspie. As you see here, these are the most common phrases that are way more ableist than you may realise. I'm going to be talking about is this topic, or another way of looking at it is, do you like it when it's going to be called? You see, basically for me, being on many autistic groups so far, it's kind of ironic that some of them aren't a friendly place for us autistic people. In fact, it was one of the environments that was most toxic to an autistic person that I have been in my time of experiencing and getting to know people and whatnot of certain groups that put some prejudices on me and discrimination roles of saying what I can and can't do. Because obviously, as I said before, ableism is based on the discrimination on people's disabilities, regardless if it's mental, physical, cultural, and the like, which I clearly shared the three different types of it all and whatnot. In these groups, it wasn't that they didn't care at all, far from it. It was just based on their thoughts that, or maybe some form of attitude towards us being different, I believe. Don't get me wrong, based on what I've seen and heard and experienced firsthand though, however, based on the community groups I've been in the autism group, as well as also the mental health group especially, that basically there are some groups that has some loving parents that are really understanding of their autistic children or a child with mental health problems, trying to do what's best for them. But then again, some of the parents may feel the same way, that they get judged and criticised on how they raise their kids and whatnot with special needs. I believe wholeheartedly we need to sure as hell stop it, but then again, there's a far way to go cry of what I'm doing right now, raising awareness, understanding, acceptance based on autism, especially as mental health, because I stand for inclusion, not exclusion. But the things they said about autistic people, while I and maybe many other autistic adults basically sitting in front of the screen or in a room or wherever they may be at that given moment of time of that zone, were absolutely ableist and generally terrible to hear from firsthand of the parents or teachers or whoever that's hosting the groups. I was told time and time again, based on my lifetime, especially today, I am an inspiration, right? Or I was. And they talked about what a terrible burden having an autistic child was, some groups has, or some form of support network that many autistics don't want to hear about, that of an organisation that's supposed to be helping us autistics or representing us autistics in a way that hopefully we come as one united front for acceptance, inclusion and all that, which I am not going to disclose the name. Many autistics may know if there's any that are watching today. I'm talking about Autism Speaks. Everybody has their opinions based on this organisation, so I have shared a fair bit of my information based on what I've heard from some autistics group, how they feel about Autism Speaks and some other organisations that they don't wish for us to support, which I'll link in the iCard above me and in the description box below me. These parents talked about ways to train their children to be normal. Again, this is a classic example about ABA therapy, obviously, because obviously ABA therapy, for some people that don't know, is applied behaviour analysis therapy, and this has been used for certain children to teach them certain behaviours that ain't accepted and whatnot. I have shared more about ABA therapy and my thoughts on the intake of it as well, which again I'll link it in the iCard by me in the description box below me. Talked about how stressful it was, knowing as they thought they did, that if they even slipped up once on reinforcements and certain punishments, we, their children, would slip back into their own old autistic ways. These are just the samplings of the things that what has been said and heard about on the autistic community and whatnot, and I want to clarify right now, imagine yourself being in my Also, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Aspie. Answers before I continue. I create mental health and autism videos, as well as advocating and educating you all on these videos, taking you all on a journey with me, what life is like as an autistic adult. When I'm able, I do some fun and game and whatnot along the way. So if you're into any of these and more, feel free to smash that subscribe button on the bottom right hand corner and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos that I may post in the future. So also, as a disclaimer, just to get out there, or a trigger warning, some of the topics briefly about ableism may trigger some of you. I humbly apologize, but if it does, don't forever fret. There may be some other subtopics inside the ableism series I'm creating right now that might be of interest to you, and if it is, feel free to go ahead and look through the playlist I've just started creating right now on ableism. If not, there are many other videos. And also, as a disclaimer, I'm no medical doctor, I'm just your normal Joe blog, so if you see anything out of the ordinary of certain signs or symptoms that has been present in the past as well, seek professional advice or second opinion for yourself or your loved one, as well as also seeking help for yourself, because I don't forever condone self-harm. So right back onto this right now is basically, imagine yourself in my shoes. Basically, maybe you're a middle schooler or an adult or what have you, sitting there hearing how much having you around is hard for your family and how wrong of being an autistic is in our everyday life. We didn't ask for being autistic, what have you. People think that, you know, as I said before, that autism is a tragedy or a curse or some other negative stereotype between us and also outside the autistic groups, which I clearly shared in one of my videos based on this. Autism, is it a blessing or a curse, which I'll link in the iCard in the description box below if you want to know more. But we got to remember, however, this is part of our identity, being an autistic, just as like if you had a mental health disorder, be it if you have depression, bipolar or whatever, we should be able to be accepting of ourselves and whatnot. Some of the things we cannot change, however, if we even wanted to change in our DNA makeup of being autistic or whatever, which you don't, or expressing any hint of this part of your identity is. How would you feel is my question to you while you're walking in my shoes if someone said some of the common phrases that are way more ableist than others? Because obviously, as we know, there may be many more, but these are just a few that I've heard on the grapevine, and I want to answer to you this. I would feel absolutely disgusting in myself or terrible, because, or a few mix of emotions and feelings rolled into one. Worse though, however, you don't just get these sort of messages one night a week or one night a month, what have you, at a support group. You receive them everywhere on the broad scheme of things. You can see it on the notice boards, you can hear them in the groups that you may be. It's just everywhere. Be on the television, it be probably from your support workers, from your family, friends, doctors, classmates, even your innocent Google search engine that is related to your disability. There's no escape, however, from this, because obviously it's there and it's real and it's existent, and that we need to do something about it. That's why, like I said, here I am today to try and abolish some of the stigma and stereotyping, as well as everything else in between this. Even adulthood and the self-advocacy abilities that, at least for me, have come with it are no protection whatsoever, even if I do put my little walls and guards up. This is just my everyday life. Welcome to my life of what I go through sometimes with certain ableists around. But don't get me wrong, this doesn't have to be this way. You see, the people who say these things, which, well, maybe without knowing it, however, don't mean to be hurtful, mean, or what have you towards us. In fact, they tend to be those most trying to be helpful, but there's the right and wrong way of helping one another and different people with different needs. Again, I have shared some of the stuff of what you can say and don't say to certain people with different needs, which hopefully I can find in one of my playlists. Link it in the icon and in the description box below me if you want to know, so you can understand us better as a whole. Which means also that if we can just spread the message of what sort of things of what not to say to us, there's a fair chance they might actually change their attitude, their behaviors, their way of thinking towards us. So here's some of the things that I and many other people that has different disabilities are often told that are quite ableist and hurtful towards us. Number one, you should be grateful for your caregiver. Question is, should I be grateful for someone acting like a decent human being just because I'm disabled? It's not like the caregiver gets nothing out of this, whether it is money, cuddles, or whatever it is that we're asking for. Surely they think it's worth it. To assume my disability, and I don't like using the word disability, I'll put it as to assume that my condition automatically makes me so much of a burden to them that I should be grateful to anyone who cares about me or for me is very hurtful. This message, like many others, implies that my worth as a human being is next to nothing, simply because I have a condition, a mental condition, in that matter of retrospect. But it's not. Number two, again, I said this before in the introduction, you're so inspirational. Why am I so inspirational for living? Because that's what you're unintentionally saying, aren't you? You're saying that just because I'm living my life, basically, it's not like committing suicide. I'm somehow an inspiration. So being disabled or having a form of a condition is so bad that it's miraculous that I haven't even killed myself yet. I can do nothing at all. It's not that bad, and by telling me that, you're accidentally sending me some really negative message about what you think about my life, even if you don't know me. For me, besides these diagnoses, besides who I am and what I am outside that area of my autism and my certain mental health condition. 3, you don't look disabled. Again, as we know, there are many invisible disabilities here and there, like arthritis, mental illness, and chronic illnesses that we go through, or chronic pains. May not be able to be seen, but they can have every bit of the same impact as a visible disability. If you're saying this, it means the person you're talking to has already got an invisible disability. They don't need you to diminish their existence. They don't want you to obviously not just diminish their existence, but exclude them to the point of no return, where they are not accepted or deemed accepted in your eyes, because you want a perfectly image of no one that is mentally handicapped, no one that is physically handicapped, or whatever. That needs to stop. You don't always have to forever diminish their existence by linking it to what they look like or they should look like based on their mental health or their physical health. However, those of us with invisible disabilities need to be our own ally, not another person who puts us down and think that, you know, hey, you're ugly, this, that, and the other. I so hate that, especially like in the way of things of people saying that we're retarded and stuff, which we're not, and I hate that word with a passion. That word needs to be diminished. Retarded. Again, a disability is a disability. This isn't a competition for all of us to have our disability, I believe. And yet people with invisible disabilities also, particularly neurological differences like myself as an autistic, are often viewed as not truly disabled. But a disability such as depression can be very much so as a disability like a physical disability, say multiple sclerosis and what have you. If in a different way is something which can be physically seen, all disabilities are real disabilities. Just because there are things that are far worse, don't get me wrong, we should be taking it from a grain of salt. For many of us also, when we go through our trials and tribulations, basically we should be counting our blessings and actually realize that yes, everybody will have their struggles and may have it worse. However, but just because things are worse doesn't mean that other people don't have it bad. I believe that, moreover, by saying this, you're making me feel ashamed of how I feel about my disability or my condition, and that hurts. This one really irks me, so to speak, because obviously I may not be able to speak for your child with the disability, but I can speak for myself based on my life experiences, as well as what I've been through these lived experiences, by bringing it out to you, raising the awareness and understanding, again, as an autistic adult, so on and so forth. But what I believe is, when people say this to me, however, what they mean is, even though you have the same disability as my child, since I perceive it that it impacts you differently than my child, I don't have to listen to you and your needs. That's a kind of an ignorant way of people saying this, how I read it across, because at the end of the day, despite our needs, yes, everybody's needs is different, I agree, but we should be able to come into unity and actually understanding and all that, and accepting of one another regardless of it all. We should be accepting everyone as a whole, regardless disabled or not. But here's the one thing I want to let you tell you right now. You're also not basically like your child. I'm a little lot closer to understanding what it's like to have their condition myself, even if they have a few slight differences of that same condition I may have. So either both of us need to stop talking, or you should listen to what I and other people with different conditions are trying to tell you. And when I say literally, I mean literally. When this subject was initially been brought up time and time again with certain groups, I was rendered temporarily to the point that I couldn't speak. I ended up being nonverbal. I started shutting down. I started obviously having all these other mixed emotions and feelings that lead to a meltdown and everything else when I heard this. As this happens to many of us autistics, that is under a lot of stress. I think it's clear to say that just from how incredibly hurtful this message is, that please, please, please don't forever spread this pain any more further to us. Because the matter of the fact is, even as some days if I am not on a verbal scale of things, was to talk to you guys basically about this without the pain is forever messed up. I am doing the best I can to my ability. I know it may meet to your needs, your standards, your expectations, or what have you. I'm doing what I feel is best for me in that matter of time of that given situation, whatever I'm doing or facing or what have you, or just an everyday task that I may be struggling with. Yes, sure as hell I'll try to ask for help. At least I'm trying to get better from my severe depression or anxiety or anxieties. In this case for me, autism also, as I mentioned, isn't something I need to get better from. Far from it. But it's not like a magic cure, a magic fix, waving the magic wand, abracadabra, be gone. For depression, anxiety, mental health, autism, and the like. Sure, as how there are therapies and treatments and medications for us to actually, manage our everyday stuff. But at the end of the day, also, we need to be aware that everybody has different needs. It's just enough. I've tried certain therapies for myself and meditations, whatnot. I've done talking therapy. I've done some everyday supplements of my multivitamins and minerals versus everything else that I needed in my diet and whatnot. And also simply pushing through the absolute sheer horror and terror, basically, and darkness that accompanies my condition, such as my anxiety and everything else that I mask in between that. But none of these have swept my conditions away, however. Honestly, I'm not sure if any of them will. I don't always have forever an answer for that either. Excuse my pun intended or what have you I'm about to say next in this part of number 8. Saying crap like this to me or telling me if I just tried ... I would be cured, implying that it's my fault for not trying it. It's absolutely so and it's only going to make me feel worse, not better. Being friends with me isn't a form of an act of a charity. Did this by choice, coming along in my circle to be friends with me, maybe to come to an understanding to a point of, after what I've shared with you guys of what life is like. And if it is, you're not an actual friend, however, if you did this through charity. It's just, friends. And as you know, also, many of us autistics like making friends. Some of us struggle with keeping friends on a daily. Don't get me wrong, I'm one of them. I understand now that people come and go for a time in a season, and with this time in a season, there is a reason why they may be coming and going in my life. But remember, it's not all about me that they left. It could be other reasonings behind it. And yet, being friends with disabled people is how to, an act of heroism. You know what that's telling me as an autistic or just a person in general with an everyday living condition? It's saying that my worth is so low that you literally put someone on national television just for being my supposedly friend. That's just wrong. I prefer acceptance and understanding over awareness or money towards a cure. Basically, that's just me. I'm not sure if any other autistics that are watching right now, please raise your hand if I'm right here, that many of you want awareness and acceptance and not a cure maybe. Many people are aware of most of their old conditions, or if they don't, they may try to Google. On top of all that, I don't want to cure for many of my conditions, but accepting this part of who I am and understanding how to accommodate my needs and myself included is infinitely harder to find. What's more important here, you probably didn't engage with a person with a disability or a person with a lived experience or condition with it in this advocacy that you're doing for. Instead, driven by the best of intentions, you're likely just charged right in and assumed you knew what myself and others with disabilities wanted. Great motivation, and I'm happy that you care, but if you're not working with us in advocacy and following our lead, you're not doing your best as an ally to us. Let me tell you all the things people have told me what I couldn't do. I couldn't do what I'm doing right now, speaking in front of a camera. I couldn't be basically writing a book. I couldn't possibly, have certain people around me that's saying that I'm an inspiration and encouragement to them. I've had that. I've had a lot of things thrown at me, and look how far I've come. I may not be rich and famous, I may not be popular and all that, but I am happy with myself with what I've achieved. They said I never could go to a typical school either, that I could never read or write, never be able to maybe take some advanced classes, which I obviously got given that an opportunity back in high school. Maybe never get to uni and graduate. Here I was, graduating at uni and what have you. Never living on my own or just living away from home. What am I doing? I'm 33 years old. I'm living independently on my own without my parents. Now and again, I would want them around for support, just for love and support and what have you. Which I thank my parents for giving me that extra push every day. I'm forever grateful for them. Without them in my life, as I shared in my book, I wouldn't be standing here today sharing with you my life stories and lived experiences with autism and mental health and other things I've been through in my everyday life. These weren't just teachers or administrators saying these sort of things. It's just everyday people basically, and some family members and friends that I thought were friends who loved me and accept me for who I am, as well as know me. Let me tell you which of these things you were about right. Oh, that's right, none of these. I have done every single one of the things that I have listed of what I have accomplished right now. Don't even tell someone they'll never be able to do something because of their disability. Not only will you look foolish if they prove you wrong, but you'll also be hurting them in the process, because obviously you're hurting their self-worth. This one really irks me. I've heard it time and time before. I don't actually want a cure for being autistic. I can't clearly stress it enough. I just want acceptance and understanding from you guys. I want to know that raising awareness and understanding and acceptance to you guys that will bring out, hopefully, my home in the near future, that something will be done about certain areas that still needs to be, dealt with in our sector of autism. However, my condition is a part of me. It's who I am and what I am. You can't remove it. You can't deny it. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be who I am. It's a part of me. This goes with my form of my mental health, of anxieties that I go through. Yes, opinions may vary depending on the person's disability in question. So for my instance, my anxiety may be also disabling, and that I definitely want a cure. Definitely want a cure for it. Maybe not. But sometimes, then again, I do. Depending again on an everyday situation and circumstance that I'm in, when it triggers me of certain things, it leads to certain signs and symptoms, be it my anxiety attacks, be it my panic attacks, be it my meltdowns, shutdowns, or what have you. The point here I'm trying to make is you need to see with the community people with a given disability, not to be mistaken with their parents, seems to want as a whole. If we go campaigning for a cure for it, however, ask first. Don't keep forever rushing in and assume that we want a cure. People with different disabilities or conditions, particularly degenerative deadly disorders, want a cure. Yes, most likely, but not all groups feel the same way, and you can't forever assume. This is because of some of my conditions affect me on a daily. I do socialize. I do basically socialize to a point that it gets exhausting, and sometimes for me I need to come away from that environment and that everyday socialization situation, wherever I may be, so I can recharge my batteries. Just because some of it affects me on a daily doesn't mean I can't forever participate in activities. Don't forever assume that. No, far from it. It's never the same way as others, maybe. But if you come to me and ask about what a way to hang out that I can access, then we may be able to do fun things together. Part of me try to act normal. What's normal? Why? To say this, you're implying there's something wrong with the way I am and who I am as a person as a whole. But really, there isn't. So, instance here. If I flap my hands sometimes, or wear sunglasses in restaurants, or I start to hum in public when I'm about to have a meltdown, shutdown, or what have you, so what? There's nothing wrong with being different. And so what? This is just me, because obviously some of these accommodate to my needs of what I'm doing. Of course, I should be allowed to stim in public. I shouldn't have to withhold my meltdowns and shutdowns when I'm ready to just bring down the waterworks. I should be able to be me and being able to be accepted of who and what I am outside my autism, masking and that I do on a daily scale, trying to be normal around the neurotypical world as well as the neurotypical. It just plain obvious it hurts though that I have to act a certain way around you guys just to fit and blend in. I believe that we're little black sheep that's amongst the white sheep, and we can't tend to, stand out for our differences. Sometimes we be shunned out of the light. But for my advice to any autistics out there, since I've been trying to be me and bring out the best of me and everything else, don't forever be afraid to be yourself. Don't forever think you should be blending in and fitting into the crowd. Bring out your talents and gifts and whatnot and shine out as much as you can, and just be as confident as you can to what you want to bring out to the... I prefer to say that I'm a person with a condition, not a disability, or in this case, a person who is autistic or an Aspie. But from that, I'd prefer you not to override it on my own voice. Don't forever try to put a label on me. I know my first language, what I want to be called. Some people like person first speech, as I've shared before, of a first person. I'll put in the icon above me and below me on how they go about it. But I do sometimes prefer identity first language. It's just depending where I am and if you guys are careful with it, which recognizes the role that different disability plays in my identity, including my autism. And it's incredibly rude to think that you can get to be one of the ones who decides how I get to talk about myself, or how I should be acting, or how I should be thinking. I should be me. Again, I'm not telling you how to talk about who you are, but show me some same courtesy and respect, and I'll give it back to you, even though we know respect is earned, not gained. So to end this, it's not easy being disabled or just having a condition in our society, but hearing these sort of hurtful statements that I've heard on a daily basis makes it even more difficult for us to live our lives regardless of the stereotyping and judgmentality of certain people. Please contribute to the solution. Just don't say them at all, or find a different way of how you can actually share your thoughts speaking about us. We are in desperate need of actual allies for disabled people or people with conditions like me here in this world, but actually allies don't say this kind of messed up nuances or nonsense, and if they did have, they should apologize and learn from their own mistake. This was obviously meant to help you learn from your mistakes. If you've said one of these unintentionally hurtful statements or many more that are commonly shared, listen to us of the people with the different conditions that you're trying to help and follow their lead. We have amazing advocates blazing a trail already. What we need you to do is stand in solidarity with us. And when I say literally, I mean it. So in saying this, it's clear just from how incredibly hurtful some of these messages are. Please don't bring this pain any further. Just think about others before you actually speak to us here. So this quickly ends my video based on 15 common phrases of what ableist then you realize say, or you don't like it when common statements. I'm gonna say smash the like if you like this. Comment below for any one of yours that are out there that has heard some of these common statements or any other common statements that are ableist, and you want to actually raise it in awareness. Basically, I would love to hear your input. And all for the do, guys. Thanks for watching. Do what love what you do. Until next time, Aspie signing out, and I'll see you again soon. Ciao for now.